Hi, this is Ted. I'm going to read to you today from an online article that talked about Bethel's Chris Vallotton, who has repented for making claims that President Trump would be the next president, and he has repented of this and moved on. Jeremiah Johnson, likewise, conference speaker and TV host. This I'm going to read to you because it's very interesting. Oh, it's a sign from above. Okay. I refuse to blame the saints and say it didn't come to pass because they did not pray enough. Hey, that's a good one. Nor will I proclaim Donald Trump actually won, so I was right, but now it has been stolen from him. Now, both of these I've predicted would come out of the mouths of a lot of your prophets. And evidently it is coming out of the mouths of a lot of your prophets because they don't want to take responsibility. And that's what this whole video is going to be about, is taking responsibility. I believe the first statement, this goes back to Jeremiah Johnson, the first statement seeks to alleviate the prophetic messenger from the responsibility of what he has prophesied. And the second statement is filled with potential pride and an unwillingness to humble himself and admit he was wrong. Brilliant! All right. Now, this article also goes on to say that neither Jeremiah nor Chris have really done any kind of time off to really reflect, but it just moved on. And so if they keep on prophesying, I would say they haven't really learned their lesson too well. Or maybe they've learned not to be too specific and keep it general, because when you keep it general, you never get caught. All right. Now, before I go on, I do want to talk about some of my past videos. Up until the past few months, I've been focusing mostly on faith healing. And there's a reason, because years ago, I was in front of a large auditorium getting healed with my friend, and neither one of us were really healed. Another time, both of these are major healers of the day back in the 70s. And the other time, I was called out in a crowd, and I felt a healing take place in my sinuses for 1 hour. But it turned out it was just the symptoms, because after 1 hour, everything returned. And I never knew what to make of these things. It just didn't make sense. And I never bothered to look into it either. But one day, maybe 5-6 years ago, I decided it's time for me to bite the bullet, find out what really happened. I want to look, and one thing that always haunted me, even though I rejected it years ago, was faith healing. Was it possible that scriptures really teach faith healing? And so that's what I wanted to check out. So I looked into the Bible to see if faith healing is as legitimate as they said. And I've come to some conclusions. No, it's not at all legitimate, but that is on past videos, and I don't have time to explain. The other thing I came to the conclusion of is this type of healing that you see taking place with signs and wonders and with all these charismatic groups, what you are really seeing can be reproduced, and the same thing can happen. So it's identical to something called the placebo effect. Short term, oftentimes, pain, oh my goodness, it can really relieve pain on short-term basis, usually. Now, I don't conclude every so-called miracle is a placebo effect and is going to be disappearing after a few hours. I'm just saying everything that I saw on stages. Another thing I did is I studied scripture, yes, but I also studied different evangelists and their healing lines, people getting healed. And I wrote down common stuff going on stage. And I studied it literally for months and months, hundreds of these things, and came to the conclusion that placebo effect is the closest thing, and not the miracles of Jesus, and not the miracles you find in the Bible. All right, if you want to know more about that, go back in past videos of mine. Now, the other thing I did conclude is these people do not take responsibility at all for people not getting healed, for short-term healing, for different things. They refuse to take responsibility. They basically say, oh, you're healed, go away. And I want them, and I challenge them. Of course, they're not going to pay attention, neither are they going to listen to me. But I challenge them, when you have a healing, get down the name, follow up. The only kind of follow-ups you'll see in past videos, hundreds were followed up. And those hundreds have all, once again, reproduced only placebo-like responses, never cures. I'm not saying God doesn't work miracles. I believe he does. But when you study, when you look at what is going on in the charismatic movement, you will see placebo response after placebo response. I know one person who goes to church regularly to be prayed for because she knows if she needs temporary pain relief, she goes to the saints to get prayed for. And it gives her temporary pain relief. She believes it's from God. No, that is a placebo effect. It is identical to a placebo effect. This is not identical to anything Jesus ever did. But my challenge was follow-up and being responsible. Even if these people were not healed by faith, and they still need to follow up and provide some kind of ministry of helping them. Also, the one thing I discovered is they don't like follow-up. In fact, Benny Hinn had, in 2 different articles, given 2 different reasons why he doesn't follow up. And the one is because he needs testimonies immediately. The other one is because people get angry on the phone. He tried follow-up, he says, but people get angry on the phone saying, why are you questioning him? Why are you questioning? I told you I was healed. And they hung up. Well, something's fishy about that whole thing. Nevertheless, Benny Hinn, for him, this is reason enough to move on. Now, what I want to say now about prophecy is I believe these people need to be responsible. You can't just prophesy something and move on without being responsible for what you prophesied. I'm going to leave it at this point and move on tomorrow with how they can be responsible and some good methods of responsibility and how they should go back and look at what they've said and compare it with reality. And I'm going to leave it there, and I'll talk more about this next time. This is Ted. Have a good one.